So it's Wednesday, July 26th. I'm on the Highway 138 on the way to Palmdale to go to the Desert Marksmen Range, which I had mentioned in a previous vlog. I had mentioned that I went out there earlier in June to do my range orientation, and I did do a little shooting while I was out there, but I haven't actually gone out there again to do an actual range session. So I had to take some days off from work because I'm capped on vacation hours, and so I decided to take today, Wednesday, July 26th, the opportunity to go head out to that range. And I got some new steel, so we're going to try all that out. But traffic is, the 138 is pretty much a pretty bad highway. It's one lane per side, and they're expanding it, but depending on traffic, it could take an hour and a half, hour and 45, or even as long as 2 hours to get there. So we'll see how it goes with this Wednesday morning traffic. I'm trying to hurry up because there's a guy waiting on me on the line, but here's the setup. I think I'm at 300 yards of these JC steel targets. I have these running off of a T-post, and we'll see how this goes. It's a little bit imbalanced and it was hard to drive this in, but we'll see if this holds up to shooting. And here's another JC steel target. This is a pepper popper. It's about 6 inches, set up at about the 400 yard line. Have it staked in, and we'll see how this shoots. It's a little bit at an angle, but we'll hopefully this will hold up. It's 7:45 in the morning. I'm at the Desert Marksmen Range. I set up some of my targets. There's a couple guys here, so I was rushing to get my steel out there because I didn't want to hold the guy up. And but this is pretty much the facility. We have a 600-yard main line here. I have a tack bay behind me. We have a camping ground behind me right here. We have another short range bay right here, or a short range line, a shotgun line, and then we have a pistol line behind me. So it's a fairly decent sized facility, not as big as West End, but there's a lot. I mean, as far as there's distance on the main lines to shoot. So I can shoot out to 600. You can put your own targets out there. There's pits out there, but we're not allowed to use the pits when it's not a match. So I'm shooting on steel. I set up steel at 300 and 400, I believe, and I'm pretty sure I set my target at 100 yards. Benches here are concrete, just like a West End gun club. There's no carpeting here, so it's a little bit rough, and so the bipod will jitter when it shoots, or it'll bounce. So we'll try to mitigate that when we do these, confirm a couple loads here. I did download my 43.5 grain of H4350 and the 130 grain AR hybrids to 43.2 and the 6.5 Creedmoor. Especially with the Hornady brass, I think I'm going to try to keep them at 2880 feet per second, 2885 for normal temperature, and we'll see how it holds up when it hits like a 90 to 100 degrees. It's a little bit of an experiment, but we'll see how this goes. I'm going to do a comparison against the 43.2s versus the 43.5 grain 4350 with the 130 grain AR hybrids. But right now we're shooting the 43.2 grains, 4350 with the 130 grain AR hybrids and Lapua brass. .2858 cold clean bore. Slower than I expected. I was expecting at least 2880. We'll see. The second shot might be better. .2883 second shot. So I had some trouble tracking 3 shots in a row. It's because I'm actually shooting up at an angle, so I had to face the lab radar at the correct within the path of my projectile. So I kind of faced it off against the parallel against the face of my scope. So that got me back in the trajectory so it could see it. So I'm pushing 2890 right now, which is about where I wanted to be when it heats up. The barrel's kind of hot now. I'm in the sun. So I'm thinking this might actually be a good load, better than 43.5, because 43.5 was actually pushing 2915 and spiked up as high as 2930, 2935. So I kind of want to keep it down under, like right under 2900. So with the Hornady brass of 43.2 grains of 4350 with 130 grains, or with the 130 grain AR hybrid, 10 shot average is 2919, which is hotter than expected. Extreme spread of 46, which is pretty horrendous, and the standard defense 13.9. But at a shot of 5 shot, I separated the 5 shot groups. The first 5 were okay. The second set of 5 was excellent. So this is an interesting load. I'm not sure if it's because I got the barrel in the sun, why my velocities are higher than expected, and it is, you know, it's got it running a little hotter compared to West End, because West End usually shooting in the shade up until all morning, up until around 10 or 11 o'clock. So that could have an effect on this. So my 43.5 grain load might be too stout for summer temperatures in the sun. So I may keep it down to 43.2. I think I might adjust my load. taking a little bit of a line break. Guy showed up, he wants to set up his target, so walked out to take a look at mine. So here we have my 100-yard group here. This is with the these are all 43.2 grains of H4350 with the 130 grain AR hybrids. So this is pretty much Lapua brass, Hornady brass, and this is a really good group with the Hornady brass. That's almost a quarter minute of angle if you take a look at it. This one opened up a little bit. I pulled this one, so this is still a nice small group. So I'm really content with the 43.2 grains. I think I'm going to download I'm going to go ahead and download that initial load that I created with 43.5 grains, and we're going to run the 43.2. Keep it down so when it does heat up and I'm shooting in warmer weather, such as this, and I'm under the sun, it'll actually pan out a little better as far as velocities and not overpressure. While 4350 is supposed to be temperature and like less temperature sensitive, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and err on the side of caution and go underneath and account for a higher velocity due to high temps, especially when I do my load testing early in the morning at West End when the temperatures are even in the summer as low as 60 degrees. So it's a good idea to download it a little bit based on what I shot over there. So here's the JC Steel targets after I shot them up. Here's a 4-inch target. I shot this at 300. Pretty much no hitting whatsoever. You can see I struck the bolt there, hit that, struck that. Pretty much no pitting here. See this shearing? I guess this is I hit the anchor here and it sheared that jacket and ran on the rubber hanger. But zero pitting because of the energy transfer. Pretty much all the energy is transferred to the target and it just swings. Then I have another target here. It's an 8-inch, also shot it at 300. Pretty much no pitting as well. It's all on this double T-post hanger. And as I mentioned earlier, I did shoot it, unfortunately. If I can focus here. So I did hit this with the 6.5. I was overcompensating on my elevation. I didn't know where I was at, so I did strike that. And then I have a spring target set up at 400, which I was shooting at, and again, no pitting. Energy transfer on the spring pretty much strikes it and it returns, and it works pretty well. I did put those stakes in the ground, but they kept popping up because I guess the energy was just too much. So it does hold. I mean, it does hold itself into place. I guess it was moving around freely like this when the stakes came out. So I'm not sure if I need stakes if I keep the target at 400, but it's a good idea to at least have it anchored down so it doesn't fall over or fly around. If you hit it too hard, I guess, with something with a lot of energy. But this spring target works pretty well. So again, this is JC Steel Targets, jcsteeltargets.com. And I'll link to it in my video description, but these work pretty well. It's 10 till noon. I've packed up all my gear and I've just come to the campground side of the Desert Marksmen facility just to take some photos of my rifle and my tripod. But today was a good day. As you saw in this facility, this is the first time, or second time I've been here, but the first time I've vlogged here. And I brought out my 6.5 Creedmoor and I was able to shoot on my JC Steel targets at 300 and 400 yards. This range goes out to 600, but I didn't want to trek all the way out to 600 with these new targets. I wanted to test out these targets, so got them a little closer just so I can put some hits on them without any issues. But today's wind was really good, under 3 miles an hour of wind for the most part. Mirage was just shifting back and forth, but it really didn't mean more than a mil of windage on the gun. And there's this fly on me, which is why I'm waving my hand around like this, because for some reason the flies just want my sweat. So. But anyway, if you have any questions about the Desert Marksman facility here in Palmdale, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can. I don't know if I can range vlog at this location too often since it's a bit of a trek for me. So, you know, I just can't rush here early in the morning, shoot and go home and switch cars and go to work. I mean, it's an hour and a half, hour and 45 one way. So I do have to take the day off to come out here. So hopefully I can range vlog here again soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Got rounds down range, tested out my JC Steel targets. If you have any questions about those, feel free to ask. And I was able to do a little bit of load experimentation just to download my load that I established at the last vlog. So I'm probably gonna go with the 43.2 grains of H4350 with the 130 grain AR hybrid just to stay on the safe side in the event that higher temperatures creep up and I'm shooting in really hot, like under the sun and hot temperatures, just to be safe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, today is July 26th. I'm at the Desert Marksmen Range in Palmdale. That's it for today's vlog.